Well, hello, crafting buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. Late night, Lori. I am coming to you on Wednesday. It's October 1st, and it's 11:50 p.m. here in Wisconsin. Let me get my tablet synced up so that I can watch to see if anybody joins me live or if anybody's commenting with me. And then let me try to get my computer set up here. Hey, Juju. How are you today? I'm just getting my computer set up here. We'll do a couple of quickie announcements. Oh, get rid of some sound. All right, I think we're good to go. I'm pretty good actually. Yeah, it's been kind of a lazy day. I've been putzing around in my studio. I had a couple of online meetings today for Stampin' Up. And actually, speaking of that, I got some information on this craft class, this Traditions of Christmas craft class. This is available for purchase now today. I ordered mine. And these are indeed, like I mentioned the other day, I suspected these might be little icons of the projects. And let me get my notes. So this class will take, they're estimating about 2.5 hours. They're going to be the concept artist, a designer. So these are leaders from Stampin' Up! That are going to be teaching the class. They're going to cover techniques, kind of the backstory for the suite of products. Once you purchase the class, you will get a link via email for the Facebook group. You will have cutting guides, the supply list, which we already have. There is going to be die cutting diagrams so that you know what needs to be cut. There's going to be 4 projects, 3 cards, and 1 home decor piece. So not just cards. All right. So yeah, that's that. I think that's, I'm curious to see how that's gonna run. World Card Making Day is this Saturday. I have 2 kits left. If you're local to me, you can stop by the studio. You can craft for me anytime between 2 to 5. The event will run Central Time from 3 to 4. And this is the kit that will be covered during that class. So there's, looks like 5 different designs. You make 2 of each card, and then there's this cute storage container for everything. And the kit, because that's how kits are, have everything you need. So there's a block, there's embellishments, there's glue dots, there's dimensionals, there's twine, there's an ink spot, and then all of the parts and pieces that you need and the stamp set. So that is for Saturday. And if you can't come at 2 or even 3 o'clock when this starts, it doesn't matter. Come later. And I will be having a clearance corner sale. Something to look forward to. And then we've got this 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar. I showed this the other day. Here's the stamp set that comes with it. And this thing is big. And it's got 12 pockets. So you can see how thick this is. So it's 2 inches. It's got 12 pockets. So I'm pretty certain this is designer series paper. I know there's some dies in here and who knows what all else. Maybe there's an ink spot, or maybe yeah, probably an ink spot. I don't know if they would include a whole pad of ink, but it's apparently a whole suite of products. So that'll be fun. This is orderable. Yeah, it started, you could order September 23rd. So, that would make a nice gift if you've got a friend or family member that you like to spend a decent amount on. But if you're on my team, you get a discount, and everything's like 20% off or 25% off, depending on what your level is. And then we have our joining offer, best ever. So you've got a choice, this or that. $125 worth of product for $35, which is great if you have smaller items that you want to purchase. You can't go over the $125. Or if you have a larger item like the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine that you've had your eye on, you would want to go with a $189 packet. That's $99. If you are interested in joining my team, there are lots and lots of perks. So let me know. And I think we're ready to start embossing pasting. Alrighty. We talked the other night, might have just been last night, and Sal is not here yet, but she said something about she doesn't like to use the embossing paste because I showed that I had my Shimmery White embossing paste. It comes in a plastic bag and it is sealed. Now I kind of left this on here, but when I close mine up for the day, I will push it, like mine has shifted a little bit. I will push mine down to the bottom of the jar, and then I will put a layer of saran wrap in there and push it down, kind of like I would do for guacamole. I don't know if you do that with your guacamole, to keep it from turning brown or to slow it down. I put that on there before I put the lid on to kind of keep everything wet so it doesn't get hard. Because if it's not sealed up tight, it will get hard. All right. So we are just going to play a little bit. And I did ahead of time play with this just a little bit. I wanted to see how it looked on this darker designer series paper. And I'm not sure. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Maybe that'll be good. You might be able to see that shimmer on there. So this is super easy, whether you do it on your designer series paper or whether you do it on cardstock. The rest of the projects, I'm going to do it on cardstock or pretty paper, and you'll see that in a minute. The concept works the same. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for with this. But this is just a plain shimmer white. Do you use embossing paste at all with your junk journals, Juju? I'm just curious. We are going to start with just a plain old piece of Night of Navy. And I am going to use one of these Snowy Delights decorative masks. I think we'll just use this one. And I'm just going to show you how super easy it is just to use this embossing paste if you've never used it before. So, Juju, this will be very elementary for you then. But we also have these palette knives. You get 3 of them in a package. And I typically don't use these. I might use this one, but this one I seldom do just because it's such a big palette for me. I like a smaller palette. I like this one. So when I did a painting class, I actually learned that when you use a palette, you're supposed to put your medium on the bottom. Did you know that? I took a painting class, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I learned that. I didn't realize that. So what we are going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of this embossing paste, and I'm going to hold my stuff down here. I think this is pretty straight. And all you need to do then is run it over your mask. And I'm just using the Shimmery White for this, but we're going to color it in a minute. Yeah, I never knew that. So for paint or this embossing paste, I'm using the bottom. I guess they never taught me that in school when I had different art classes. Now, I try not to go super thick, but I don't want like the blue showing through here necessarily, like it is there. And I suppose if you work it too much, you're just going to ruin it. So sometimes it's better just to leave it be. All right, we're going to leave it be right about there. Whoops. See, I should have let it be right there. Maybe if I use just a little bit more. All right. So then all we need to do is carefully lift this off. There, now I'll be done. We're going to carefully lift this off, and we've got a beautiful snowflake on there. Now that does need a little bit of time to dry, and I recommend wiping down your utensils pretty promptly because this stuff does dry relatively quickly, and it will turn into concrete-ish if you don't get it cleaned off pretty quick. So I just have a wet piece of paper towel here. And we'll just wipe off my silicone mat. And this has a lot of little glimmer in it. Luckily, it's not glitter that flakes off because that makes me a little crazy. And then I am just going to put this under my sink and we'll dry it off. And then we're going to color the embossing paste. We'll color the embossing paste. I forgot I don't have my mic on. I forgot I wasn't wearing my wireless mic again. It does seem like it makes a difference with my picture getting distorted. Kind of strange. All right. So now if we are going to color this, we basically need to, do you color your embossing paste too, Juju? That's going to be really pretty. What we're going to end up doing with this one is just putting it on here. We'll add a couple of snowflakes or something. I look like I smudged this just a little bit here. I think we'll just put something, maybe we'll put a snowflake over that. So are you crafting while you're watching here, Juju? I don't want you to be so bored. You do all that, all the different techniques with your junk journaling. Where was I? We're going to put some, I'm trying to decide which one I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and do a sentiment on here. And we're going to do it in white, but embossing powder. So let's go ahead and just do that quick. We'll just kind of lay this out. And we'll just have kind of a basic layout of a card there. Versamark. And I just have on this one, Warmest Winter Wishes. So you're doing, what did Sala call that yesterday? She called that something where she was molding the couch to her body shape or something. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, that should be pretty good. We'll put just another coat on here if there's any Versamark still ready to cling. All right, let's cover this up and heat emboss this. got a new power strip, so it's closer to my crafting table. Now I'm also going to try to do some embossing with color. Oh, I used clear, not white. Silly me. That was silly. I needed white, not clear. Well, let's see how this looks if I put white on top of there. Maybe it'll look like a shadow. Otherwise, I'll just do another one. Although that does kind of show up fine. It's not what I had intended, though. I intended for it to be white. So let's see what this looks like if I try to do it on top of here. This will be very interesting. So I now have the white, not the clear. Oh, that's going to look kind of cool. Little shadowy thing going on there. All right. I think that'll be fine. Happy little accident. I'm going to put that on there for a little bit here. We'll get the heat gun again. I wish I could say that I got a lot accomplished today, but I think I had three different meeting opportunities today, and I didn't want to miss any of them. None of them are mandatory, but you know, it's all kind of like the, oh, I guess that doesn't look very good. It's almost like it ran. It shifted. Maybe if I had waited a little longer for it to set. Well, I guess we'll do one on this side. We'll do it in white this time. Although, you know, if I did, let's do this. This will still be kind of fun. If we just do, I'm going to clean this off. If we just do the Night of Navy first in regular ink, we can still get that shadow effect. Let me get another piece because that's probably not going to work really well. I'm going to melt that and it's probably going to go onto my heat gun. Good thing I have a padded mat here too because my heat gun fell. All right, let's try this. I'm just doing regular ink there. We'll still see if we can get that shadow effect. We'll do some Versamark now. Make sure that's dry enough so it doesn't pick up any embossing powder. And we'll put that on there now. Pull in the embossing powder again. Well, that's interesting. It was wet enough that it still picked up on that Night of Navy. Boy, I'm just not having any luck today. We're just playing around and it's not working. I'm going to heat it up anyway and just see. It's going to look like we got double vision. All right, well, we know that doesn't work. Maybe I'll do the sentiment later. Let's move on. All right, so our little shadow melted and shifted. Our Night of Navy picked up our embossing powder. So we'll do that later. Let's go back to our embossing paste. We'll see how many little fails we can get for that. At least you'll know what does or does not work. So this stuff is still a little damp. We could dry that off with the with the heat gun rather, or we can just let it sit. So what I want to do here is mix some ink into, let me get this stuff out of the way. I want to mix some ink into our embossing paste. And hopefully that's going to be enough embossing paste. And I'm going to use, hey Sala, I'm going to use Pool Party. You just missed 2 little failed attempts to fix a little accident. So we'll just add some Pool Party here. Maybe I could have stopped at 1 drop. It doesn't take much to make this colorful. But I like to do it on my silicone mat. I could do it on my glass mat because that'll clean up really well too, but because I want to work on my glass mat, I figured we would just do it here. All right, so that looks pretty good. That should be enough. Yeah, what were we talking about for Sala? Oh no, we're not done with the struggle yet. Because we're gonna try to put, this is the velvet, the all season velvet. I'm doing it in white. We're gonna see how this looks with the embossing paste. So I am using the Snowy Delights decorative masks, and I think we're gonna do, that's the one we did there. So let's do a different one. Here we go. Oh no, that's the one we did for there. So we did, that's mask number 1. Yeah, that's mask number 1. So let's do mask number 2. And we are just gonna try and see what this looks like on here. In fact, I think we'll do this one landscaped. So I'm going to trim this down. Oh yeah, melting the recliner into the shape of the body. What did you call that yesterday, Sala? We're going to do 5.5 because we're going to make this go all the way across the card. I don't remember what you called that. Oops, I got embossing powder here. All right, so we've colored our embossing paste. Now this is the Shimmery White. Yeah, Shimmery White embossing paste. We're gonna have this kind of centered on here. Now if I go like this, that'll fit if we want the snowflake tall part or if we want to just go sideways. And I think I'm going to do it this way just because it's easier to tell whether I'm centered or not. So crafting the soda into the shape of my body. Yeah, wasn't it you that said that last night? I'd have to go look at some of the comments because I asked if you were crafting or something, and you said yeah, you were creating something with the couch. All right. Sally, do you use embossing paste and ink? I don't remember if you said that was something you didn't like to do. So all I did was take some of the embossing paste, and you want to make sure it's fresh because the older it gets, the more stiff it gets. But I just put 2 drops of the re-inker in there. So just the re-inker that goes with our Pool Party. And then we're just going to start rubbing this on here, and we're going to see how it works on this velvet. Now, I probably worked the white on that Night of Navy card a little much because you could see the Night of Navy behind, you know, coming through from behind. But I think with the white, we're not going to have that same issue here. So far, it looks pretty slick. Just got some on my thumb. And let's peel this off. Hopefully it'll come up nicely. That is gorgeous. Look at that, and that's on the velvet. So that's not on white cardstock, that's on velvet. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. I might take the heat gun to that later so that we can actually work with it. But let's do this. See that? You know, it's, to me, it's really no patience because, well, except for this took more patience to mess up these. So this one was supposed to be the, this was supposed to be Night of Navy underneath with, I take that back. We did white, except I used clear embossing powder by mistake. All right, and then this one, I put the Night of Navy on with regular ink, and then I used Versamark after I thought the Night of Navy was dry, but it wasn't dry enough, so the embossing powder stuck to both layers, and that looks like we have double vision. So let me get another, here we go. Do I have a base? This will work. I just want to use up some of this Pool Party embossing paste because it looks really pretty. And I'm going to put this, I think, a little higher on here. And we're going to use up this Pool Party just because we can. Because I can always use it for other cards. So Sala, did you know that when you do embossing paste or like paint, I learned this when I did a palette painting class, you put the medium on the bottom of your palette. I didn't know that. And there's another one, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to set that one over. And I think I'll just do one more. And then I'm going to wash this up because I figure I may as well use up as much of my paste as I can. And then just wash this mask just once. And this will just about use up the paste. I just don't want to run out of paste when I'm in the middle of a project because then trying to color match it will be more of a challenge than I probably can handle. All right, cool. So this one I'll probably cut down so it's more of a square, and we'll put it on another base. So yeah, there is more of it left than you'd think. So at least I didn't run out. So I'm just going to scrape most of this off. I'm going to wipe it onto my paper towel. And then we're going to switch over to, what are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. I did bring Night of Navy, so maybe we'll look at some Night of Navy. But it's almost like it's like a shimmery frosting. And I'm just going to walk this over to my sink and try to get that cleaned off a little bit more. mission accomplished, kind of. So, Juju, this is where I have my desk treasure book and would put the leftover in like a masterboard. Oh, yeah. Yep, that would make sense. It's a shame to waste any of that, right? So, the silicone mat cleaned up really good. I think these are like $6. I don't know if you guys use those with your junk journaling, but I have several silicone mats just because they come in handy for a lot of things. It's like to put glue on here, and then I can use a sponge or a brush to put glue on small things. So the only thing that I recommend with these masks is that if they have designs like this where it's cut, be careful that you don't bend those. Hi, Nicole, welcome. How's things in Australia? Perth, right? All right, so we have used mask number 2 now and mask number 1. Let me move these things. Oh, and then I got water on here. I splashed. We'll have to put a little snowflake on top of that too. All right, so what I did was I brought in, I think I'm still a little wet there. I brought in a pool party base, and we're just gonna do this pretty monochromatic. Ooh, careful. I'm gonna ruin them all if I'm not careful. We're gonna do this kind of monochromatic. And I have a layer, so this is 8.5 by 5.5. We scored at 4.25 here in the United States for our basic card base. And then this layer, I've just cut down a half size down by 1/8 inch. So this is 4 1/8. Well, this one actually is 4. I must have 5.25. So 4 by 5.25 is what I cut that down to be. And I'm going to end up putting this up on dimensionals. But I want to add, oh, I know, we were going to go this way. It's going to make this landscaped. That's not going to give me the look I wanted. We're going to do it this way after all. I am going to end up, because I wanted kind of a banner across the front with the velvet. This is so pretty. You can't really tell, but with this velvet and then the shimmer embossing paste and then the pool party die in there, the re-inker, that's just gorgeous. So I'm going to make sure I let this dry all the way before I cut it down. So then let's go ahead and take another piece of pool party. We're going to do some Versamark on that. And we're going to just do warmest winter wishes on there. And we'll emboss that in white, not clear this time. I'll be very careful. And we'll cut that down. Hopefully I have enough ink on there. My Versamark, you'd think with these it doesn't need to be re-inked, but here it almost looks like it needs to be re-inked a little bit. So you've got your daughter's blanket on the couch. Oh, the sofa crafting. That was it. The sofa crafting. That's what you called it last night. Did I do this in clear again? I did it in clear again, you guys. All right, here's what we're going to do. Here I said I was going to be so much more careful. We're just going to do another one on here. And I'm going to get rid of my clear because it looks white when you're looking at the box, but I'm going to put that way out where I can't even reach it. And we're going to take the white and we're just going to emboss both of these. Maybe I'll just put white over that and we'll see what happens. It might pick up some of the white, who knows? No, probably not. All right, well, it's been a night of whoopses. I guess I'm more tired than I thought I was. I think I'm still trying to recover from the night you guys, or your gals rather, had me making cards for like 2 hours. That was crazy. All right, so let's just emboss these. We'll cut them down. So this might actually look kind of cool. It might actually look better with the pool party on there. Kind of a tone on tone. Although it did pick up some of the white. Makes it look like it's been snowed on. That's different. Well, we're just doing all kinds of experimentations. So I don't know, it did pick up some of the white, so it actually looks a little snowy. Might not be so bad. All right, so let's get my trimmer, and I am gonna move these out of the way because I do not want to smudge them because they are actually very pretty. So these are just on cardstock, but that velvet one especially is really nice. This one, I'm gonna have to see about drying this. I am gonna blame you for it. I'll use my heat gun and dry this off maybe a little bit. This is actually pretty dry now, but I splattered water on there. We'll just have to put a snowflake or something over that. That's pretty dry. I like it that I don't get glitter on my fingers. I might have a couple of pieces, but I think that's from when I was playing with it on there. So it's a little messy here. And I did a little smudge there, and then there's that little water spot, so I'll have to play with that. And that might not be set all the way. It feels a little gritty. Lori and the Troublemakers, that would be a good name for my team. We haven't really created a team name. I have a Facebook group and I just call it a little bit more because Lori's a little bit of crafting and then we do a little bit more in there. That's got to be set. I'm probably going to burn it now. But I don't know if we're going to use that one or not. That'd be like, who was it in the Heartbreakers? Is it Tom Petty in the Heartbreakers or something? I don't remember. I'm going to have to trim that one a little bit more. Oh, that's crooked. Yeah, Laura just can't get anything straight tonight. That's all right. It shows that I'm human. I'm going to use my big blade scissors and see if we can straighten that out a bit. A little bit more. I may have to just redo it. We'll see. I may not be happy with it. Free Fallin', like the song Free Fallin'. All right, I'm going to trim this one a little bit too. Usually when I try to snip like that, I end up making it more crooked in the other direction and it gets all a mess, but I think that's all right. So what we're going to do here is I used this set of dies, so there's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, from the Delicate Pine dies that go with the Delicate Pines, and this is where the Warmest Winter Wishes comes from. And I cut out these. And see, that wasn't normally the type of music I would listen to when I was younger. I don't listen to hardly any music now. Probably more country than anything else. Oh, did you hear the joke? And I probably won't get it right because I'm not very good at telling jokes. If, let's say, the United States, Finland, and Australia were a genre, what would they be? Country. I saw that like on a reel or something. I don't know if my husband shared that with me or not. I don't think I like that one with when I put the other white on there. It picked up too much. I don't think I like that. But these little snowflakes, I think, should work. We're just going to put a little bit of glue on that centerpiece. Ba-dum-bump. I didn't make up the joke. I just shared it. Oops. We have gotten a kick out of some of these like chicken reels. Somebody shared them with me. One of the gals I used to work with, I think, sent me the first ones. And we'll be here, Sala. And they're just like the chickens going around the coop and stuff, but they put voices to them. And some of them are really quite funny. And I guess if I wasn't a chicken mom, it wouldn't be as funny, but because I am, they're very comical to me. So Juju, how is your sick chicken that you're chicken sitting? Are you still chicken sitting? And then where did my other, here it is. I think those are too close together. Here we go. I don't remember how long ago you got the chicken. Just a couple of days ago, right? To chicken sit. I'm not sure I'm real happy. Oh. Yeah, we lost one this year. It was only about a year old. So yeah, it was probably early this spring. I think I was telling you guys about that the other day. She laid this huge, I mean, literally, it was like a dinosaur egg. It was huge. And she just wasn't the same after that one. And she didn't last very long after that either. I think it just wrecked her. All right, so let's... I'm cautious with this, but this is the velvet one. It's still a little cool, so I think it's just slightly wet. But I'm happy with it. So I think we're going to end up doing this way because I don't think I like that one. What do you think? And I like this snowflake mask better than that one. This one looks kind of clunky. Do you agree? I could dress it up with some kind of ribbons and other little snowflakes, I suppose. So this is... How old was that chicken that you have that you were watching? I don't remember if you said how old it was. If it was just about a year also. So this one we're going to have to trim. I think we'll be all right to put in the trimmer without ruining it. So if we've got 5.5, I want it to be 4, and I want it to be 4, which means I have to take off like 3/4 of an inch. That's going to go like right to the edge. Ooh. I'm going to save these. So about a year. Yeah. Just like people, I guess, you know, sometimes their bodies just stop working. And I suppose I could trim that down just a little bit more, but I think that'll be good. And then we'll put this on here. And I'm going to trim that down here, and I think I'm going to maybe we'll just do an angle. And that'll kind of go with the sentiment there. And this will go here. So that'll attach to there. And then we'll put a couple of these. Maybe we won't. Maybe I'll put those behind. Well, that hides the whole thing. Maybe I'll put them inside, on a white layer inside. Let me go get some more white. I know I'm not always prepared ahead of time, but I feel like I'm even less prepared today than usual. And I was playing with some of this stuff ahead of time. All right, so if we do this for an inside layer, we can just put a couple of the snowflakes on here and maybe trim them off on the edges. I think that'll work. Just put a little bit of glue. And I'm not going to go all the way to the edges, obviously, because if we're going to cut some of that off, it doesn't make sense to have glue on them. All right, there's that. That's kind of cute. No, I think I might like it on the bottom better. Maybe we'll just put another one there. And we can put the third one over here maybe. This is where I could probably have used adhesive sheets or a sponge to do this with my silicone mat. Oh, no, we'll just put this one here. All right, that'll be good. So I'm hoping, Juju, that your friend didn't blame you for not making the chicken better. That would be my fear if I was trying to take something. I mean, it's one thing if you have, like I have had of friends' plants to plant sit while they're gone. And if they start taking a turn for the worse, it's like, oh my goodness, I can't kill this plant while they're gone. But an animal, I would be even more afraid of. I'm hoping because the chicken was not well that they knew that was a possibility. People laugh at me too when, like with our chickens, they all have names. And I said, well, it's not like they come to they're not going to come when you call them, but at least I know in my head if somebody's missing, which one it is, because I have them named. And it just makes it easier for me somehow. We'll just randomly put that over here. All right. And that'll just be a nice blank note card. You can write whatever you want in there. So this, well, at least he was very realistic with what the outcome would probably be. It still doesn't make it any easier. We did when our chicken went, I mean, I had been watching her, and then I went out there in the evening just to check on everybody with my granddaughter, and this little gal was under the hen house part because the hen house was raised, and she was just laying on her side, gone, of course. And my granddaughter did not see her. Oh, thank you, Sala. Yeah, my granddaughter did not see her. So, in the morning then, I went and scooped her up. The chicken, not my granddaughter. Oops, that's crooked. Lori. I was trying to be so careful too. Oh, wouldn't you know it? And this seal is pretty strong. We're just going to end up trimming a little bit of this pool party if this doesn't shift. Yep, I'm just going to trim some of the pool party. It's just one of those nights where we're just going to keep adjusting every step of the way. But that just shows you that everything's fixable, right? And then this one I knew was going to be over a little bit. So we'll just trim that off, but I expected to do that. So anyway, back to the chicken that passed. I talked to her mom and said, yeah, here's what happened. She didn't see anything, but I would like to do a, do they call it a necropsy? Necropsy? It's like an autopsy, necropsy. So anyway, I said I would like to do this with my granddaughter because she's all into the, she likes to see the body books and everything, all the muscle systems and nervous systems and respiratory and all that stuff. She's got, you know, a couple of models where all of the body parts come out and you put it back together. So anyway, her mom was like, huh, I don't know, I suppose it would be all right. And I said, well, I would ask her first, my granddaughter, I would ask her first if she was interested in seeing the insides of the chicken. And if she didn't want to, then I just wouldn't do it with her. But when she was back with us the next time, we still had the chicken because it was cold, so we were able to preserve it enough. And I asked her if she wanted to do it. She's like, yes. So we donned our gloves, and I got my trauma shears, and we cut open the chicken and didn't really see anything obvious, you know, to my only minorly trained eye. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on here. Hopefully I can get this kind of straight. It's just being a night. Nope, it's crooked. Yep, it's just that kind of night. There, I think that'll work. And then this, I need to trim just a little bit more. This is not quite at a 90-degree angle. That'll work. I wish we had a nice lacy ribbon. This is balmy blue. That would have been pretty. It won't go with pool party. But let's see here. I wonder, I have to see if this gold and silver is still available. I wonder. 161, 633. All right, so this is retired, but that would make a pretty bow on there maybe. So this was gold and silver. I try not to use stuff that if you wanted to recreate it, you would be able to. That would have been kind of pretty, but I think it's all right just like that too. I could take, I think if I took the basic beige and colored it, that it wouldn't, I think this would take it down from, I think this ribbon would take it down to not as fancy looking. Now I just took that out of my little ribbon tamer here. So I think I'm going to use the retired ribbon, the silver, because I think that kind of gave it a nice touch. What do you think? Because it's got like the shimmer and the snowflake. Yeah, she is kind of a scientific, she likes all that STEM stuff, and math is her favorite subject in school, so that's a good thing. I'm glad. So we're going to put some, I think we'll do tear and tape. Right down the middle. I'm going to cut this at an angle to match. I guess I need my ribbon scissors. I think that gives it just a little stuff there. So if you want to make something like this and you need a little swatch of silver or gold, let me know and I'll mail you a piece. Now I have dimensionals here, but not here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up on mini dimensionals so that it sticks nicely to that velvet. And that will also help hold that ribbon in place. Oh, I guess I really needed a bigger piece for that. So it is wide enough. There. And then, let's see. We've got these snowflakey ones again, these iridescent faceted gems. So we have those. They have kind of a pink hue to them though. Or we have just the basic rhinestones. What do you think? Rhinestones or the iridescent faceted ones? These would go with the ribbon better than these, I think. Any opinions? Oh, I just saw your message here, Sally. So you were watching TV with Amanda and she was worried because your little thumbs up hand was pointing down. Oh, this one. Oh, let's fix that. I didn't realize that. Yeah, we want a thumbs up, huh? I found this when we were on vacation. There was a set of them. The iridescent on the snowflake. Which is one? Rhinestones or iridescent? 1, 2. So we got Nicole likes the iridescent snowflake look. Juju, I don't know if you like this one, that just the basic gems, the basic jewels. Iridescent. So that's 2 for iridescent. So I think you're overruled, Juju. So I'm going to use tweezers for this one. And we'll just put, we'll put them random, I think, instead of like at the end of a snowflake. Hopefully they'll stick good to the velvet. They feel like they're sticking pretty good. And then here's what we did with the inside sail. I don't know if you were gone or if you were here, but I used some of those snowflakes because they didn't really look good on the front. So I'm really happy with how this turned out on that velvet. I mean, it's really pretty. And it dried really nicely. Sometimes on the paper, when you use it on the cardstock, because it's wet, the paste is wet, it kind of, you can see how it curved the paper a little bit as it dries. The velvet did not do that. The velvet stayed nice and flat. So I have these. I can make 2 more cards that are similar. We could do, oh, what if we did a pool party layer on white? The center needs one. Oh, I could put a big one on the center, huh? Where did they go? How do I lose things like that? So we'll use a big one in the center. I think that's pretty centered. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I need a 5th one. So that one's going to come over here, I think. Oop, that turned upside down. Maybe we'll go in here. No. I lost it again. Oh, they say if you have to think too much, then you have too many on there. We'll just put it there. Well, and the thing is, I just had it in my hand, and it's amazing how quickly things get lost. And a lot of times I'm looking right at it and I just don't see it. All right, so I like how that one turned out. But I do really like the embossing paste on that velvet. That's really pretty. Let me see if I don't have any saran wrap in here, but I'm going to go ahead and seal this up a little bit here, and I will put saran wrap in here before I call it a night. And I'm going to go get a piece of Pool Party, and we're going to make another addition here. We're just going to we'll put a layer behind the white. So we'll do one of these. And I'm going to trim that down so we have a little bit more of the pool party showing through. Or this one where it's, I think I'll hang on to that one. Let's cut this one down a little bit. Thank you, Nicole. I guess we had it this way. So I think, do we leave the pool party that big? Or maybe I should trim it. Oh, I don't know. I feel like there should be more white showing behind that pool party layer. I'm gonna go like this because there's a little bit more white here. There's paste and embossing, but a beginner could do ink blending through the stencil. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we were talking about the embossing paste the other day, so I thought I would do embossing paste. But yeah, the masks are designed for ink blending, but they work well with the embossing paste as well. So I feel like I should have a little bit more of the white showing behind there. So let's what if we did this? Oh, yeah, we were just doing this. You could put it more towards the top and then stamp a sentiment at the bottom. Yeah, I think that's... I was just doing that. I was thinking, oh, I could put like a flag down here, but I think the sentiment at the bottom is better. All right, shall we use the same one, Warmest Winter Wishes, and emboss it with white, not clear? Or should we do Celebrate the Season, or It's the Most Magical Time of the Year? What do you think? And I'm not going to put this on until we get that sentiment on there. These are really... The colored embossing paste is just... I think it's gorgeous. I don't know what you gals think, but tinting the embossing paste really does it for me. I like it a lot. Maybe wrap some trim around the white snowflake panel and tie a bow. Sure. Let's see what we have as far as... What do I have here? This is the basic beige. Let me try to color that with Pool Party and see how that looks. And I think we'll do the dark Pool Party. Most magical time of the year. We'll color some of this. So, do we want to wrap it this way, in the middle, or up and down? And that one should fit really nicely at the bottom here. Let me just pull that out. That's going to fit really nicely there. And now I just had another thought for this. I think I might do 3 cards tonight. So let's put this on here, and I'm going to pull this out so I remember, otherwise I might forget what I wanted to do. All right, so let's do our embossing buddy. And then put this back here. And put some Versamark on this. A really thin trim. I probably have to use a silver, or we could cut this. We might be able to cut that. It might look kind of shabby chic. All right. White embossing powder. Oops. Ooh, that's going to turn out good, I think. Yay, I used the white, not the clear. And I even got it mostly straight, I think. what do you know? All right, I'm still gonna try to color this, and then we'll trim it in half and see how that looks. Since this is on basic beige, our color might not look quite true either, so we'll take a look. It almost has a little bit of a green tint to it. I don't think I like that. Let's try the light pool party and see what that does. So that was the dark pool party. We'll see if the light pool party looks any better. Although, you know, Summer Splash might actually make it look a little nicer. Yay, you did get the sentiment right. So that's the light pool party. Oops, it's not quite dry. That's the light pool party. This is the dark pool party. On the beige, I don't think the color came as true as if it was on a white. We can try a couple of colors here. Cloud cover might be too gray. That is pretty gray. This is Summer Splash. That's too bright greenish blue. And then we've got, that's a dark pool party. Then we have light balmy blue. And once you know it, that's the one that's probably the closest color. That is the closest color, wouldn't you know it? You don't know until you try. So let's color a bunch of this and see how it looks when I cut it in half. Well, I guess I should move up here a little bit, huh? So you can see better. So for those of you watching, not commenting, feel free to comment. We like it that way. It's not a private club. But if you've not colored your ribbons before, they don't have to be white. If they're tinted, like this one is basic beige, it does kind of affect the end result. But you always want to use an alcohol marker or blends because the regular marker will not dry. And that's probably enough. Let's get these out of the way. These are the ones that did not work. And we're gonna trim this up the middle and see how it looks. And if it unravels a little bit, which is what I kind of expect, it'll just look kind of shabby chic. In some cases, you can use regular stamping ink as well. I suppose it depends on the ink. I have found that with the Stampin' Up! Inks, when I do that, when it dries, the ribbon becomes very stiff. So there might be other inks that don't do that, but that's just been my experience with the Stampin' Up! Inks. So there's a cute little bow. Yeah, it does have longer drying time, and I'm usually not that patient. I'm surprised I actually let these sit long enough. So if we did this, and I can always peel this off, but I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal. If we don't like it, the ribbon will peel off easy enough. So let's kind of eyeball this on here. My cutting skills were not really good here, which is not surprising since I couldn't get anything else straight tonight. Why would I get ribbon straight? All right. So if we put this here, it reminds me of the old Polaroid pictures, if you're familiar with those, where you had the little white section at the bottom. So this can go here, and then this we'll trim up a little bit. Could go here with some gems. What do you think of that? I like that. I think the thin ribbon was a good idea. Or was there a big snowflake die also? There is, but it's not as big as this snowflake. So you could do it, and in fact, I like it, but the bow centered, you don't think it makes that part of the snowflake look like a stick person? So this, let's see if on this particular snowflake, that wouldn't work really well for the smaller one. This one could work. You want me to cut it out? We'll see how it looks. Layering them, like layering the snowflakes, that could work. So the smaller one, have it like maybe offset. Let me cut this out and we'll see. Let me move this up out of the way so we don't ruin it. All right. You can't unsee the stick person, right? So we could do silver as well, but I really kind of like this tone on tone where we colored it. I think either would work. Get the eye bleach. At least it's not like an obscene picture, right? That you can't get out of your head. You can't unsee it. All right. Hopefully, this will not break down the embossing paste. That's kind of my only concern with this one. But you don't know if you don't try, so I say we try. I think that looks pretty good there. And how I'm trying to line this up is with these little nubs here rather than here. I have a little white spot over here, so let's shift that just a little bit. I think that's pretty close. Oh, we could emboss that. Yeah, well, I'll cut another, since we haven't glued any of this, I can cut another pool party piece, emboss it with silver. Although I don't have my silver handy. I think it might be in the other room. Let me see if I can track down my silver. That might be fun to try. Although if we used the basic rhinestones, that could be pretty too, even with the white. But let me see if I can find my silver. Oh no, I like the ideas. So that's pretty cute too, right? There goes one of my plates. That's kind of cute. Could make that like into a shaker card. Maybe use blending brushes to put, I'll have to hang on to that. Something about using leftovers, right? So it looks like the embossing paste survived. This is cute. That's kind of cute. So if we did like so and put that up on dimensionals, that would get rid of the stick person there, but then you have all these other stick people on the sides. What do you think? This just follows kind of the same pattern, which might not be a bad idea. That would just lift it up. So do you like it following the pattern or opposing the pattern? You guys think that through, and I will go find my silver embossing powder. I'll be right back. Silver. All right, and then I need another piece of pool party cut down to put the sentiment at the bottom. So let's hang on to that for right now. And we're gonna do 4 1/8. All right, so the opposing pattern, so 5 3/8. That'll be our little layer. Let me get another white base. We have a gingerbread stamp with cute face elements. But when you put them in the stamp case, where they put the image inside the gingerbread man. Oh my goodness. That's funny. So are you talking about the Stampin' Up! Gingerbread man? The one that says the oh snap? So that's the stamp. The gingerbread stamp. Let me get this stamp. Where did I put it? I have a die. So the stamp looks like a boy because he's got stuff in his package. Yeah. Yeah. Because that doesn't show that way on the front. Now I will never unsee that every time I look at this. And I'm surprised I didn't notice that the first time. You know, if we want to do this a little X-rated though, I mean, who's gonna... It's late. If you're not an adult, you shouldn't be here this late. We could make him really bulgy. You started it. That's funny. I will never be able to unsee that now every time I look at it. That's funny. Well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. All right. So now we have this and this. We're going to emboss in silver. These are all turning out really nice. I like them. There's something to be said for collaboration, right? All right, let's see if we can get this pretty straight and centered with any luck. Back to business, that's right. We can recover it. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking about it though. All right. Well, I'm glad there's other people with a similar sense of humor as me. My mother used to always tell me I had a warped sense of humor because I would laugh at, I don't know, unfortunate things. But, you know, if you can't laugh at yourself, you know, and I don't know, you got to have your sense of humor. So I'll tell you, I think most of you here have heard me talk about my cancer journey from years ago. It was the late 90s. And when I was going through my diagnostic things, I might have already told this story, but I had to have a chest x-ray for, I don't know, I think we were still doing the diagnostics. And I was standing there with the surgeon, and we're looking at the x-ray, and I'm seeing all of these masses up and down my esophagus. And yes, this is a Tata story. You're right. You have heard it. But there are some other people watching. I'll make it quick. And we're looking at all of these on the images, and I'm seeing all of these masses, and he's telling me, you know, well, this is kind of, it looks like what we talked about. I'm like, I know, but nice rack, right? Because... let me get my white cloth pen. Do I have here? So you're looking at this x-ray. So here's the x-ray machine, and then here's me and my arms. And then I've got all these little, you know, lymph nodes and masses and whatever. But then you see these two lines like that, and I'm like, nice rack, right? So that's my, you got to keep your sense of humor. And he looked at me, and we both started laughing. And, you have to keep your sense of humor in hard times. I think sometimes that's, oops, and look at what I did. I think that's sometimes the only thing that'll carry you through, you know? So let's get my spoon back here, see if I can fix this. That should be fine. Oh, I should have been a little more careful. I'm just brushing off a couple of these things. I forget that I have this zoomed in a little bit. And it looks like I bumped a little bit off of there too in my haste to draw pictures. Well, I think, you know, the good thing is that I had a good outcome. That's the important thing. Oh, I'm trying to fix this and it just keeps, that G is going to have to be okay. Alrighty. All right, so it's not a warped sense of humor either. It's just an alternate view. That's right. That's right. All right, let's heat this puppy up. Yeah, I'm sure he was. Did she just say that? Well, and then for one of my surgeries too, where he was removing some of my lymph nodes under my arm, and I was awake for it. I was had like local pain killer for it, but I was awake rather than general anesthetic. So I'm laying there, my arm is strapped out to the side, and he's, you know, removing what he needs to, and he's like tugging, doing the stitches. And, you know, I'm talking to him throughout the whole procedure and, you know, saying, well, you know, you're pulling kind of hard, that, you know, I can feel that. Do you have to pull that hard? And, you know, the last one he did, he told me he was going to put me under heavier sedation so I would be more out. And I said, you just don't want me talking to you during the surgery, huh? And he just laughed at me. So, all right, here's this one. And now if we move, is this the last? Yes, because we cut this one down. So if we take this, and I'm just going to leave that ribbon on for now. We'll imagine with the silver. We'll imagine with the silver. And then we'll make a bow for that one as well. I really love my little bow maker too, especially for making little bows. That surgeon had really nice eyes too. He had the bluest eyes and long eyelashes. He was easy to look at. And I can say that I was not married at the time. I was divorced. My kids were young. So I could look without getting into trouble. All right. All right, so let's make believe this is all attached. I think that's going to be kind of pretty too. I may have to get some more embossing paste colored for this last one. So I think that'll be pretty too with some rhinestones. Put some rhinestones in the middle with the silver. I think that would look really pretty too. Yeah, he had the greatest eyes. The eyes were something that if I mean, that's why a lot of times they'll black out eyes when they want to conceal somebody's identity, because the eyes really are like what, the gateway to the soul, right? Can you see this with, I think this would be very pretty, but I'm going to have to color some more of the embossing paste. But can you see that silver, the silver sentiment on there? Yeah. I think that probably helped you trust the dentist more because he had nice eyes. So that's very pretty too. So I'm going to save all these, and I will make another batch of paste. No, I'll just do another batch of paste. And we'll put this across here. We'll put the masking. Talking about accents. So the only Jamaican movie that I can think of was Cool Runnings, the bobsled one. I've been to Jamaica though. They have a fun accent. I like theirs. And all the people in Jamaica were so happy. You know, that might look good just like that with the silver. Do you think that's too small? Although if I could cut the pool party down a little bit. All right, this is going to go on here. We'll decide if we're going to use that little inset on one of these or not. So you couldn't remember the name of the guy or the movie. And did it come up with black actors with blue eyes? Did you find out who it was? That's funny. I went to school and there was a boy in my class that was black. I'm not sure if he was mixed race or not, but he had like bluish green eyes. They were really cool. All right. Oh, Luke Cage, Luke Cage. I've never heard of that. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's get some glue dots for our cute little bow here. Yep, that's the back. Yeah, I don't know. We might have lost Juju. She hasn't been chatting for a bit, but when I first started tuning into some of her lives, some of the words, the way she pronounces them, because I don't have the same accent as somebody from Mississippi, some of her words, like when you're talking about a gel pen, when she said it, it sounded like jail to me. And I used to work in our criminal court system for like 23 years. I was in our criminal court system. And I sent a lot of people to jail. So when she said jail pens, I didn't realize. It took me a little bit to realize she was saying gel pens. All right, so that's going to go there. I think we could put this up on dimensionals. What do you think? We'll use up some more of these end pieces here. It's a superhero series from Netflix. Oh, I don't get Netflix. I hardly watch regular television without having paid stuff. Oops. I just don't watch enough TV to make it worthwhile to purchase stuff like that. Part of my problem too is when I was in the living room earlier with my husband and the TV was on, and I was actually reading a book. My nephew's wife, it's actually now technically my ex-nephew because I'm divorced from his uncle, have been for many, many years, but I still call them my nephew and niece. She is now a published author, so I've been reading, her book just came out on the 30th of September. So I've been reading every day. So anyway, I was reading this book, and it's called Lover's Leap, if you're interested, by Ricky Goodwin, Rikki. It's available in ebooks and hardcover, I think, and probably soft cover too. But anyway, jail pen, those get hidden inside a cake. Yes, you're right. So anyway, I've been reading this book. So anyway, I was sitting on the couch and he was in the chair, and I'm kind of reading and I'm hearing what's on the television, and we're going to use these for this one, right? Yes, I think we're using these ones because we'll use the rhinestones for that one. And he changes the channel. So that's why I don't watch TV a lot of times, because he will just randomly change a channel. And, you know, all of a sudden it's not making any sense to me. Well, because he changed the channel and I didn't realize that it was a totally like different storyline. Read, read, or read, yeah. And I think part of it, he is still your nephew if you watched him grow up through my marriage. Exactly. And the thing is, even after my husband, and that's the man that I have my children with, so they're cousins. So even after we divorced, I would still take the kids to visit that part of the family. And I think I probably ended up doing it more often than my ex-husband did. So they still... The oldest one for sure still refers to me as his Aunt Lori. That is really pretty. I like that. I like it with the narrow ribbon. That was a good idea. Was that Sala who thought of that, or Nicole? I don't remember who thought of that. And this is on the velvet, remember? And now we need to decide what we're going to do with this one. Should I mix up some more paste or do it with a little snowflake and cut down the balmy blue a little bit? Or the pool party, I mean. That's pool party. So that could go there. And then several of these can go around on the pool party. Sally, you don't know what you've thought of, huh? That's funny. I lose track. Sorry, it's just drinking some water there. All right. So, like this, I think I'll trim down the pool party a little bit so we can see a little bit more of the border. I could stamp in pool party a few of these snowflakes on here. Maybe stamp them off so that they're not too dark. I will get a piece of pool party scrap. And we'll see how it looks. some of these things put away. If I don't have to mix up any more embossing paste, I'm all right with that. It's not difficult to do, but oh yeah. See, Sally, we are soul sisters. Squirrel. In fact, I have thought about getting that squirrel bundle from Stampin' Up! Just to have some squirrel things by my crafting table. All right, let me see if I need to move this up a little bit. So here's full strength, and here's stamped off. So I could kind of mix them up on here. And I thought ADHD was just stuff that we experienced here in the United States. I would probably have been diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. But we were out running around and stuff. So what do you think? Full strength, stamped off, a little bit of both. I'm going to get my trimmer out. We'll trim this down just a little bit. So we're going to make that go to 3 3/4 stamped off. That was kind of what I was thinking. 3 3/4 by 5. We'll see how that looks. I think that'll be good. And then we'll probably do it that way so it goes with the length of the card instead of stocky. I think I like it up and down. And then, whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, I can start talking about something, and in fact, we had been here on a live. I don't know if it does have a squirrel sentiment, but anyway, we had been on a live, and I was starting to talk about something, and then I got distracted, and then I was going to go back and tell the story or whatever it was, and later in the evening, I'm like, oh my gosh, that thought came back into my head, and I don't think I ever finished what I was talking about. So it obviously was not important. I should probably not do that on my white card base that I want to work with. These are going to be really subtle. Very subtle. And over time, those are going to fade even more. I have noticed that when I stamp off, when I'm doing tone on tone, maybe I need to pick up more ink. When I do tone on tone, it does fade. You might not even be able to, oh, you can kind of see them. They're a little darker down here than they were up there. I'm not sure why that was. Maybe I pressed off too hard. There we go. We'll just do light. There. I think that'll be good. Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine that it's probably very frustrating. Our daughter, my husband's daughter, has ADHD, and we have found that, I mean, I suggested to her some time ago, make a checklist so that you have something to refer back to. So when she gets distracted, you know, she's got this list of things she can, you know, add to it. She can check things off that, oh, I've accomplished this. And, you know, as you check off things, even if you get distracted, then you can still go back to this manifest and see that you have actually made progress on things. So don't beat yourself up over it. Make sure I'm putting my seal on the right side here. I think we'll go about here. And I'm kind of using my grid lines here to see this solid line here and this solid line here, so I know it's going to be pretty close to straight on the front. That's right, Nicole. All you can do is the best you can do. Oh, we're going on white. And this we'll put up on dimensionals. I'm going to use a few of these pieces. It's hard when, you know, people might not understand what you're dealing with, and they might misjudge you. Yeah, having ADHD is no indication of intelligence level. Not at all. Not at all. But it is something that you have to adjust to, because I would think, I mean, with the people that I know that have been diagnosed with ADHD, some days are good days and some days are bad days. They're not all the same even, you know, and if they were always the same, that might make it easier to manage, but you know, it's different from day to day. And you can tell I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing this. Yeah, I'm sorry you have to deal with that, Sala. And fatigue, yeah, that plays a big role in it. I'm thinking, I think I'll put dimensionals just around the edge of there, because the snowflake is up on, well, I need to be on here. The snowflake is up on dimensionals, but if we just put them around the edge, it's not going to make the card any thicker when it goes in an envelope. I just won't put anything in the middle, and we should still be good. I think it'll look nice with that little lift. Yeah, well, just wait till you hit menopause too. That'll add a whole new level of fun to brain fog and being distracted and losing your train of thought. Have you, any of you, you may not be old enough, but Being Melanie and the We Do Not Care Club, I find some of her statements are hilarious. So you went through, I'm just looking at some of these comments. Yeah, luckily I'm past the whole hot, hot, hot part. I didn't have a whole lot of that. But I've actually kind of had to go through it twice because in my 30s, when I was going through my chemotherapy, of course, that threw my body into a state of flux. And what did I do with my bow? Here it is. So I kind of went into menopause when I was in my 30s, when I was going through my chemotherapy. But then when I finished my chemotherapy, then everything started working properly again, which was a little bit of a disappointment. Because it's not like I was going to have any more children. So it is what it is. You just have to hope that your partner, your family, whoever you're with, is understanding and they don't hold it against you, because there's not a whole lot you can do for that either. All right. Let's try to make this look like it's more of a bow there. Oh my goodness. 20 years of hot flashes. No, thank you. All right, and then I'm going to roll another glue dot to put under here because I don't want that rolling all over the place. And again, I'm sorry if I was off camera. I kind of forget. All right, there's that. So this is pretty cute, and let's do some of these. This is my scrap. This might turn into something, a fun little shaker. I might have some of the old snowflake elements too. Right, because your brain is just going a mile a minute. 5 steps ahead of where somebody else might be. Try to get this ribbon put away. All right. Keep putting some of this stuff away here. Let's put some of these little gems on here. I'm going to put a big one in the center there. Oops. Yeah, I think I like it there better. Come on. Ah, too bad, right? You would have an advantage in chess. I haven't played chess in years. So here we're doing medical marvel things again tonight. Oh. Maybe we'll tuck that a little under there. There we go. Monkey brain. Yeah, I can kind of see the similarity there. All right. Let me get these things put away, out of the way, and let's pull in the cards. So here's our first one. This is the velvet with the tinted shimmery embossing paste, the Shimmery White. That was fun. That was a nice experiment. I have never done the embossing paste on velvet before, but it's quite nice, and it's not coming off. And then these two are just on cardstock. So this is white on the ball on the pool party, and this is pool party on white, basically. I love them. And then we did some experimental coloring, and those didn't work out, but I think I might hang on to these for use in another project. You just never know. And then we have this, oh yeah, this one we were going to put on top of here, but we ended up not doing that. I wonder if we could find another little, I think this is just going to give me petals. I'm not sure if that gives me petals or what that gives me. I suppose I could try to cut it out and see. Let's take a look. Oh, seeing the lottery numbers would be very helpful. Thank you, Nicole. I kind of like these white ones. Kind of in reverse. I think this one is my favorite just because that pool party really, with that shimmery embossing paste that I tinted on the velvet, it just has, I'm trying to tell if you can, it's just really a cool look. I don't know if you can see that as well as I can. There, can you, it's really pretty. All right, so let's see what this does for me here. All right, so this basically cuts out, this die just cuts out the snowflake petals. So if you wanted to make like a window sort of thing, so that's not going to work for what I wanted it to do. We could try this one. This might be a little bit more of a snowflake. There we go. This one's your favorite? That one's fun. To me, that one's a little more whimsical, which is fine. And see, this doesn't look much like a snowflake, but let's see if there's, if we did a stamp on there first. That might be cute once we put ink on it. We'll see if I can get this lined up. It's sometimes a challenge when you can't put your head over it. That's pretty darn good. So, what do you think of that? Put that in the middle, because we were going to put this one in the middle there. I could put some Wink Stella on there. What do you think? Or I could cut another threesome of those. Oops, I just got my finger in the ink. Layers are your kryptonite, hey? Nice. So, do we do a white snowflake on there maybe? Let's give that a whirl and just see how it looks. Because I have some white here. And if we don't like it, then I can do pool party. I guess I need paper in here. Well, Well, I'm glad Stampin' Up! Did 3 pieces for the snowflakes, for the little snowflakes, so you kind of know what you're supposed to do with them. We'll see if these want to pop out. Nope, didn't by the third try. Usually they'll pop out like by the third try. I'm going to have to get my pokey tool. These are probably just too intricate. This is a long one again. 2 hours. You gals are slave drivers. All right, let's move this out of the way. And see what this looks like. So let's just glue these together so that they sit in the right place for us. That would be a bit much. Let's just try it with this. And it might look better with Pool Party. What do you think? And then a gem in the middle, of course. Let me go get some Pool Party because I'm not sure we like it with just the white. I think on the right card the white might look all right, but I think the Pool Party might look better. One of these we'll like. We'll see if this is your jam, Sella. I'm going to have something to eat before I go to bed. Not sure if you can hear my stomach growling, but it's pretty loud. All right, let's do a little glue here. We are almost done. Just doing a really light layer of that glue too, because I don't want it squishing out on me. Oh, I think that looks better. What do you think of that? Or with both, excuse me, or with both of them. Oh, that's kind of cool. What do you think? Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more even. Move it up a little bit. So that's the white and the pool party. There's just the pool party. And there's just the white. The just white just looks too stark to me. But I kind of like these two together. Nicole, you like the double too? That's pretty fun. All right, let's do that. Let's do that. And we'll offset them a little bit. And I could put that up on a mini dimensional too. Yes, layers. When we do a team swap with my upline, her rule is always you have to layer it and you have to embellish it. So no just sip cards, no stamp ink and paper. It's got to have layers and it's got to have embellishments. There, what do you think of that? That's pretty fun. All right. So there's our shimmer. Oh, I need to put a gem in the middle there, don't I? I probably shouldn't have put it up on a dimensional because when I put the gem on, it's going to make it even thicker. Maybe I can just do some Wink of Stella. Would that be all right? Otherwise, I could probably try to take the dimensional off. Layers and embellishments everywhere. I think that actually works. If I put a gem in the middle, then I'm going to have 4, and then I have to find a place for a 5th one because I like them. I like them in odd numbers. So let's go out a little bit so you can see all 3. There. That's what we created. So the Wink of Stella, I think, looks okay. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that with the Wink of Stella in there, it really kind of coordinates with the shimmer embossing paste. So I think it looks fitting. It looks like it belongs that way. All right, so favorite cards. Nicole, you like this one, right? The cutout one. Sala, are you into this one? This one's my favorite. What do you think, ladies? I think my water is gone. Oh, Nicole, you're going with the middle one now, okay? Oh, Sally, yours was the die cut one. Yep. That one is pretty cool. I think it was a good idea to put the sentiment right at the bottom there. on both of these. I think it was a nice touch. Very nice touch. Alrighty. So the middle one wins because of its sophistication. Nice. I think they all turned out fun. I mean, there's not one of these that I would not send to somebody, because I think they all turned out really nice. This one, maybe not so much. I'll have to see what I can do with this one. I'm not sure. But I wanted you to see it on the contrast with the dark cardstock. So I may still do something with that one. We'll see. But I really like this color palette. That Pool Party in White is really fun. All right, so thanks for joining in. And I'm going to call it a night. Let's scooch this over a little bit, and I have an extra snowflake. That could probably go inside one of these others, because this one I already finished on the inside with those extra snowflakes like this. So you are welcome. I'm glad you popped in, Nicole. Thanks for playing. Both Nicole and Sal, I appreciate it. And Juju. She probably fell asleep, quite honestly. She's in my same time zone, so it's 2:15 for us in the morning. So, all right. You are welcome. I'm so glad you were here. And until next time, happy crafting.